Thank you, Tony. I forgot to announce one thing, is we are having a drawing for a bottle of wine at the end of all the presentations. Okay, there's a fishbowl over there. Actually, Jill's going to pass out cards. And what you need to do is write down what you think or what you would like us to present, WCA to present in the coming year. Write down your ideas. And if you don't write down your name and your telephone number, we can't give you your bottle of wine. So write down the question and your name and your telephone number and email. And we'll do a drawing at the end of all the presentations. So the next speaker is Lars, and he's with Skyhook. Skyhook provides location data, so now they can really pinpoint you down to where you are. And he's going to talk about the technology they have.
So first of all, thanks for inviting us out to talk. About Skyhook, we help you figure out where you are. So what we do is we put the dot on the map, and we put the dot on the map, and the way we do that is essentially by triangulating Wi-Fi networks. I'll get into that in a second. A little bit about Skyhook first. Skyhook was founded in 2003, based in Boston. And we work with device manufacturers, we work with app developers, we work with chip guys, and with the operators as well. So we're embedded on every iPhone. So every time somebody has an iPhone, every time you do anything with location, we're the ones who provide the location there. We're embedded on the iTouches, we are on the MacBooks, we're on Dell laptops, and we're just about to announce some other OSs as well. Unfortunately, we'd love to work with Nokia. It's not happening right now. How does it work? We'll get to that. So how does it work? We drive around in cars and we scan for Wi-Fi networks. So we've driven 2-3 million miles, and we've driven in the US and Europe. We're driving in Asia now. And what we do is we pick up the Wi-Fi signals, and then we take the MAC addresses from these devices, like the unique ID of the handsets. And then we basically calculate where people are based on that database. So this is an example of what San Francisco looks like. So all the red spots are Wi-Fi hotspots. And a little bit about Skype in terms of numbers. So we have a couple of 100 million requests a day. We have 500 mapping cars driving around the whole time. We have 135 million access points globally. We're in over 100 countries. We're embedded on 60 million devices. And to somebody's point, how we make money, that's how we make money. We get royalties from the handset manufacturer. We have 5,000 apps using our services, so that's what's driving the traffic. And the majority, about 3/4 of all the traffic is actually indoor usage. So that means that's where GPS can't reach, for example. And we work with all the major OSs, and we're embedded on some of the chips as well, some of the Wi-Fi chips. So again, how we work, we call it hybrid location. So we combine the GPS signal with the Wi-Fi signal and the cell ID, and then we look at what gives the best result. And kind of the metrics we use is the accuracy, of course. It's the time to get the result, and it's also just the availability. So you want to be able to get a result wherever you are in any kind of environment. But here's an example of a map of Europe, kind of what we covered and the hotspots. So we had the majority of the population there. And we do the cell tower as well. In terms of the location apps, that's something that's relevant to today, of course, there's been an explosion in terms of the number of apps that use location. And it kind of started off with some basic apps, like just kind of showing on a map, like where are you on a map. I've just shown some categories of kind of where all the traffic comes from today and where the different apps are and the usage are. So a little bit like Sense, we also look at that. We look at like what are people doing, what are the apps that are popular. So we work with developers directly as well to reach out to platforms and handset manufacturers where we're not embedded on the handset already. And we work pretty much across the different developers and we have SDKs for these environments. Maps Booster is an example for Nokia that we launched an app that basically enables the Wi-Fi location on the Nokia handsets. And what it does is every time you use Nokia Maps, for example, then it uses a skyhook Wi-Fi translation to provide you the location. So that's actually a good example of Nokia collaborating with an enabling technology to improve the user experience as well. Sit Squad, it's an app that's popular, especially amongst women in the US, and it kind of shows a basic type of app, which is kind of finding public restrooms. And what people they do is that they rate these restrooms in terms of cleanness, in terms of accessibility, and things like that. But it shows it's just kind of location is moving like way above just kind of a map or navigation and things like that. And then what happens is kind of on top of that, the next kind of segment of apps is kind of creativity apps. And a couple of examples here. I thought one of them was appropriate for today. Which is the last call. It's an app that you basically calculate how much you've been drinking through the night. If you get pulled over by the cops, you can look up local lawyers to get you out of prison. So it's kind of creative. The other one, another example is like UFO finders, and they charge like $7 a download. They're absolutely killing it. What they've done is they've mapped out in the area, so you click on the map, find out where you are, then they've mapped out for the last X years, 40 years, like what UFO findings have been there with pictures and things like that. So that's kind of the next level, kind of more interactive. Then there's like a third level, which is like, we call it the Tune Weekly, for instance, that app. It kind of shows what people are listening to in the area nearby you. You can kind of start the whole social networking based on location as well. I don't know, Brian from Glimpse, are you in the area? Okay, so Brian runs the Glimpse. That's a good example of guys who kind of move into that step. So they do, you basically, I was driving up here, send Brian a Glimpse so he can track me on a map where I am. So that's kind of the whole social networking and kind of the connectivity. And Glimpse is a good example of developers that we're working with on platforms where we're not already embedded and across different platforms. Ad revenues. While it's, again, our core revenue model is embedded royalties, but we help the app developers as well on the revenue piece, release white papers and support. And here's an example of Holiday Inn, for example. So they have on the app, on the traffic app, they live track where you are, and they actually embed the address of where you are with the closest, and match that with the closest Holiday Inn. And then what you do is you get a coupon for free breakfast. So that's already happening now. Other type of examples are these two examples. One of them is the Timberland. It's a game, so it's like a game where they actually use it as the app as advertising itself, and they use location on that, so you have essentially like a game based on location. There's also Pizza Hut. So they use the app as advertising as well and as a sales tool. They've generated like $1 million in the first month they launch. So basically what they do is you launch the app, you find out where the nearest Pizza Hut is, you choose what type of pizza you want, you have all the details even of the people who are making the pizza, and of the guy who's delivering the pizza and so on. So really bringing it to some interesting levels in terms of revenues. What's happening, kind of going forward very briefly, so we see like augmented reality as being an interesting area, for example with advertising and just kind of mixing that with the location where you are and the knowledge about that. So with that, we have to take any questions.